Hey y'all, how's everybody doing today?
Oh my God!
Hey,
You're
what time is
here.
it? What time is it?
It's
It's
8:04.
8:04. What time is it? What? Let me see. Hold on. Just one second. BGK show.
Ladies and gentlemen,
live
this
on
bitch is getting ready to try it. I just want y'all to know we on live air.
8
This
to
bitch
9
is getting ready
p.m.
to try it.
Eastern.
This bitch right here is getting ready to try it.
And 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific. I am not going to say anything, but our Brista, Bayard Rustin, casts a side eye to your lateness.
As dead as he is, that side eye is permanent.
Well, good thing.
and has nothing to do with me.
Well, good thing he wasn't late with the March on Washington back in 1963.
And that is amazing. Howsoever, right now where we are, I am here now. And when my ass is dead,
Finally.
I probably will be 5 or 10 minutes late for my own funeral.
Probably.
'Cause that's just how it is. Is there
And we're
anything else you
gonna
want
be
to say?
sitting there like, we miss him. How can you be late for your own goddamn funeral? I mean, you already did.
It's probably going to happen. It's just something that's just going to happen. Listen, we've gone through this.
You probably gonna have it on your will. You'd be
Listen.
like, tell them to start the funeral at 3 o'clock, and I would get there like 3:15.
Me and my mammy would go through this crap all the time because she is very much if I need to be there 35 minutes ahead of time. And I was like, girl, that means I have 20 more minutes to get ready. So I don't know what to. So we always had that issue. In fact, I got in more trouble because I didn't have perfect attendance than I did for not having an A. But anyway, good evening, kittens. How are you?
Hey.
After we had that very long trying session.
I mean, if you had been here earlier, it would have not eaten into the time.
So I just want to make sure that's what we're gonna do all night. We're gonna do that all night.
All
night.
all night long.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what they said. They're gonna do this all night long. Okay, so just want y'all to.
So
watch
be
it.
ready for it.
Be
Get
ready.
into it.
Today is
Settle your
Wednesday, May the 15th.
May the 15th.
And you are tuning into episode number 56 of the BGKH show with Dominion
Yes.
and Epic. He is Dominion, who was on time. I am Epic, who was 4 minutes and some odd seconds late.
Late. You were late, Blanche. Like your period.
You could have started the show without me.
How could I? It's Dominion and Epic. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed with you. But I can't do. I mean, I could do the show without you. But I'd rather not.
Oh, so what you're saying is you got feels in there? That was is like there's feelings rolling in?
Effie.
Ladies-
Curtis was supposed to. Epic. Curtis was supposed to.
Welcome to the damn show, y'all.
How y'all?
Welcome,
How's
welcome.
everybody doing today?
How was y'all week? What's going on? Tell me
What's
about
going on? What's happening? What's the
Yeah,
what's the
talk to me.
what's the Gaga
Yeah,
group?
what's the Gaga? What's going on? Refresh my drink. What's going on?
I
How's
sent
everybody's
this
week?
bitch a text message. I was like, LaShawn, you're on in 5. And he says, okay, touch up on makeup. I was like, what does that even mean?
LaShawn, you're on in 5. I'm like, bitch, I'm giving a touch up to my makeup. Bitch, that's what it was.
But LaShawn was already in the studio, though.
She was still backstage trying to get her life together.
I told you we were going to do this all night long.
She was
And
she
this
was
is
trying to get
all
her life
night long.
together.
All right, whatever. Okay, all right.
She had just taken her week off and
All right,
smeared
all right,
it on the
okay,
mirror.
all right.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, all right. Well, so since you're here now, what does the BGKA stand for?
Well, the B stands for the blacks. That's what it stands for.
Like black, or like CP time.
Like black, like this shirt, like Baron
Like
Rustin black.
like
Baron
CP
Rustin
time.
black.
Like CP time. Like always
The
late
G
all the
stand-
goddamn
the
time.
G stands for what?
Gays.
That's what
Like
the gays
gay time.
always try
Like
you. They
always late.
try you. The gays,
Gays
always
and
try
the
you.
black gays are
Always
the worst.
try
The
you.
black gays,
The gays
are always
always
the
try you.
worst. Always.
Now,
the
what's the K
worst.
for?
Kinky.
Now that we can agree on. So
I
listen.
guess we can agree on it, but you know what? Well, you know what makes the when you know your scene partner don't show up on time, it just ruins the whole thing.
But your scene partner always delivers.
I mean, I guess.
Has there been a time that I have not delivered?
Well,
Adjust your glasses, bros.
I mean, I guess, but I guess that all just makes us human. Anyway, so next it says banter about how our week was. Okay, so how was your
Dumb. Just dumb.
how was your week?
My week was actually pretty
Girl,
good.
did you get your brakes together? Because
Oh my God.
when we left last week, your car was like it was like
Listen.
it's like that
Let me
that,
fill you in about that.
Fred Flintstone rock rolling
Let
across the
me
street.
fill you in about that.
I'm
I'm not
listening.
going to name any names, but what I'm going to say is, so yes, I did get my brakes fixed.
Finally.
After finally having this conversation with a friend's friend and all this. So this is
I
what
thought he
happens.
was gonna hook you up.
This is what happens when you try to do shit jackleg and back alley.
Oh, that's why you
So-
take that shit to Meineke.
Right, and so I'm in a predicament where I'm trying to save a little coins and I'm trying to trying to get it together. And basically, what I already knew, I needed rotors and I needed pads, and I already knew that's what was going on. Apparently, because I waited so long, there was something else that happened. One of the calipers had kind of went through, and
Yep.
so there was the brake line fluid
Been
had to
there.
be done over again. So all that's fine. But now here's where the shade comes in,
The
and
gags.
I am getting ready to apologize ahead of time.
Is
because
this my good Bristol Smokey? Hey, Smoke, what's going on?
I'm getting ready to apologize ahead of time
Hey,
for
Kendrick. Hey, Ryan.
talking about this in public, and I'm not going to say any names. But the person that was going to do my brakes, they charged me X amount of dollars and said, in order for me to get started, I need X amount of dollars ahead of time. Okay, no problem. And I'm fine with that because
Should we subtitle this "The Goop"?
because it might be. You tell me when I get finished.
Okay.
So I said, no problem. I sent them what they asked for. No tea. I told them this is what's going on.
What
And I
was that
said,
show
in fact,
on NBC?
can I finish the
with
doggone
Stone
show?
Phillips?
I mean, just explain.
I'm just trying to remember what was
Dateline?
Dateline. This is Dateline.
Or to catch a goop, to catch a predator.
To catch a goop.
To catch a
To
goop.
catch a
Okay,
goop.
to catch a
To catch a
goop.
goop.
All right,
Okay.
So they told me how much it was. I was all right, cool, fine. I said, but just so you know.
No. Sorry. One more time. Goop or no goop. All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
So they know how much. They told me how much it's going to cost. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll give it to you ahead of time. I said, but when I brought it back to them, I said, listen, this is what has happened from the last time that I talked to you. My brake is my brake pedal is no longer sitting up here. I'm pressing all the way down to the floor. So that's why he was saying it's going to probably be a little bit more, and you're going to have to probably take it to the shop because I can't do stuff here. It's not a simple thing. I was like, no problem, cool. Tell me what you're talking about. They told me it was going to be a minimum of possibly a minimum of $200 extra to a maximum of $400 extra. And I was like, okay, fine. At least I have an idea what I'm looking at. Fine. Get it to the shop. I find out it's not the maximum. It's only an extra caliper and some other things. Okay, great, fine. Now, meanwhile, I done gave you some money ahead of time. And you came out and gave me this price, and I'm like, okay, great. So I'm thinking, you're getting ready to deduct what I gave you from this? Oh, but no. And the way you had it worded was labor for the caliper itself, and then you had a brake service. Now, I done bought the brakes pads and the rotors.
Like you bought them at like AutoZone and bought them to his
Because I
house?
sent you the money to get them ahead of time. Right.
Okay.
So when you charge me, I'm thinking, oh, you're going to deduct this from this bill.
Here's the goop meter. This is no goop, and this is goop.
So when I get this bill, I was like, well, so are you going to take this deduction off for the what I sent you? Well, no, because, and I said, well, wait a minute. If you're charging me for this part and the labor for this part, then why are you charging me for brake service of this amount, which just so happens to be how much I gave you ahead of time? So meanwhile, I'm sitting there and I got mad and I'm sitting there saying to myself, all right, this is a friend of a friend, and I'm trying to be all calm and cool and collected about it. But I already go into car situations or car repair situations knowing that that it's always some foolishness, and I feel like you are always at their mercy any and every time. So to be clear, I expected to pay up to probably $700 or $800 for rear brakes, pads, and rotors. So let me be clear about that. What I wound up paying, even with the money that was not deducted from that total, was still less than $500. I was annoyed because I feel like you should have deducted what I gave you ahead of time, and how you have this written on this receipt.
So the total of everything was only $500.
Less than $500.
Plus,
No. The total on the receipt was $315.
But you'd already given him $200.
$150 ahead of time.
So
I still
you
spent
should
less
have
than $500.
total.
Yes,
So you feel like your bill should have been that minus 150.
that is correct.
Oh, okay.
Now,
So
if
he
there-
basically charged like a service charge.
and that's exactly what I chalked it off to. So now I felt like,
So
and like I said, I understand.
So there's the actual goop. So there's the actual goop. So did you get gooped, and the goop in spirit?
Okay.
So did you actually get gooped? Yes, you got gooped. You got gooped based on what you paid. But overall,
exactly.
the spirit, you did not get gooped. Because for $500 for everything that you got done,
and that is
the
why-
total out of pocket,
That is
including the service
Right.
fee, everything, that was not a goop.
That is
so
why
while
I'm not
he
even upset.
might have ripped you off based on the agreement that you all had, that was a goop.
in total.
But in terms of what you should have paid, if you had gone to the Nissan dealership,
Absolutely.
that was not a goop.
And
that was
like
a,
I said,
that was a bargain.
a $700-800 thing. And I was like, I said, you know what? In the grand scheme of things,
Yes.
I can't even get upset because at the end of the day, I got my car back and it's doing what it needs to do.
Right.
And I said, you know what? Even if I have to chalk it off as just saying, fuck it, it's just his referral fee. He allowed me to do it for whatever, and it is. I was like, all right, fine. But I was full tilt boogie, like I was hot driving home. I was like, this mother. And I was just
but
trying
every
to
time you press
calm
the gas
down.
pedal, you was good though.
More importantly, the brakes.
I mean,
It wasn't
I
going
meant
to
the-
the
I
floor.
meant the.
But
the
no,
brakes, yes.
but again, with the gas pedal, when I press that, I still hear noise, or I heard noise when the brakes weren't fixed. But now I can press the gas pedal.
Okay, good. So everything
Everything's
was working out.
Right.
Good.
But I then realized that when I came to visit you the other day, when I had that little fender bender from the motherfucker.
Did we talk
in the
about that?
neighborhood- No, we did not talk about that.
Yeah, we did because it happened last week.
It did. It happened last week. It happened after the show.
Did it? Okay, we'll talk about it.
Did it happen after the show? Or was it Tuesday?
No, it was Tuesday, so it was before the show. We talked
Tuesday.
about
Yes,
it
yes,
last
yes.
week. Yeah,
We did talk about
how
it.
the person
But when
hit
I
your car.
but when I realized as the car's parked in the driveway that there was something hanging from the front of my car, that's when I got mad.
What was it?
It is this piece that's hanging from underneath the front bumper. Like I have to show it to you. Like I can't even. And it looks there's a screw that looks like it needs to go back up in it. But I got annoyed just that quick because what I thought was just a small amount, like a dent and a dent, like just a dent in the bumper. It still is a dent in the bumper, but I'm still like. But this still does not probably equate to what my deductible is.
Right.
So I'm still kind of like, fuck, I'm like, all right, whatever. But other than that, it's been an okay week. One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a phone call from, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I got a text message.
Whenever phone calls.
I got a text message from a family member asking me about this house situation. And you've been texting me and calling me and you've been telling me what's going on and you're saying, listen, we're running out of time, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Now let me be clear.
We ain't got to do shit.
Let me be clear. I've already made up my mind and I've expressed to you that this is what I want to do, which is to let this place go.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to have any more conversation. I already realized where they are in the process. Let's go. They are supposed to set a sale date, and guess what? This letter was a sale date, which actually was today. But you sent me a text message today.
So you and the bank have already handled whatever you need to handle. Oh, so.
But you still want me to do this modification thing, and when I sent the paperwork off, but a sale date was still already put together. So
A modification for what purpose, though?
the modification is to actually alleviate or erase that back balance so that then you can now, after I talked to you about it a year ago, you can now take the house.
But by take the house, you mean buy it.
Yes, because you are getting it back to zero. You're going to pay it and then take over the mortgage and they have it refinanced into your name and all that other stuff. Like that whole process.
No.
That's what you're going to do.
That's not a refi. That is a sale.
Well, I'm sorry, sale or finance into your name, and that's
Yes.
fine. So whatever that is. But listen.
But that was like a year ago, and you didn't do what you were supposed to.
And I told you then that this, but you wait until the last minute now. I'm good. Like so.
House is sold.
I mean, so I don't necessarily know if any of my family members are watching, but you know what? If you are, then
Oh well.
that's kind of where I am right now. So
You missed out on a chance because you got clearly you wouldn't have been trying to make a huge profit off of it. You just sold it for what it was worth, just so that you don't have to be bothered with it. And they could have got a house for less than whatever going rate was for houses in
And
the
at the
neighborhood.
time that they asked me how much the back payments were, it was still less than $8,000.
Oh, see.
So you and your husband couldn't come up with that? Okay, well, I mean, but your husband is. Let me stop because I'm
Just let it go. Let it go. We're going to relax. We're going to relate. We're going to release. One more time. Come on. Relax. Do it with me now. Do it with me now. Relax.
We're gonna go on. Come on.
Relate. Release.
So, but
Fuck
other
the
than that,
family. Sorry.
right? That's
So
fine.
my week was pretty low key since the last time we spoke. You know, our pledges crossed, so you know that's one
Yes,
thing
congratulations.
off of my bucket list. That we are gearing up for the Pride
DC Black Pride,
season.
yes, DC,
And, you know, so
and Black
there's-
Pride, and
IML and
Capital
Capital
Pride
Pride
and-
and Folsom,
Yes.
and this year is World Pride, which I'm not going to be at either of those because I got to go to Orlando for my fraternity's 25th anniversary. But these girls, like, all right, I'm like, all right, bitch, I am canceling New York shenanigans to come down here, but like everybody is in our little group me talking about, well, I can't go because I'm like, bitch, if I come down to Orlando and none of you bitches are there, I am going to light your asses up. I mean, I'm gonna still have a good time while I'm in Orlando because you know I know how to have fun anywhere. But I'm just saying.
yeah, like I would be.
I could say what it really is going to be is like I could have saved. It's not that I couldn't have fun in Orlando. Is that I could have saved the money that I'm going to spend to fly down to Orlando
As opposed to a
and,
bus,
right? And stay in a hotel and rent a car and all of that shit. And right, I would have just had to fly or catch the bus to New York. But whatever, it's going to be what it is going to be. So I'm gonna still have a good time one way or another. So, you know, this weekend I'm looking forward to a quiet weekend. I have a new potential sub coming to visit and say hello for a Saturday night overnight, and then you know after the show next week. Oh, so next week Tuesday I have the interview with United Airlines.
You know, I'm laughing inside, like I'm dying inside.
I don't give a fuck about that. Because let me just say without saying any names.
Yeah, okay, well, all right.
Motherfuckers try it. They try it. And me, have been understanding of the triage because I have been in that situation before. That's all I'm going to say about that. But the limits of my understanding and empathy with your situation are finite. And when you say the wrong shit, then you get talked to. And there's someone who I consider a friend now that I don't fuck with. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Relax, relate.
That email was...
Relax, relate.
What'd you think of the email, though?
Relate.
I want to know. Tell the girls what you thought of the email. Because I sent him a text. I was like, I am blind carbon copying you on this email because it's someone that we both know. And I was like, just so that you are aware of what's going on.
I have no comment.
You got a comment, girl. That no comment is a comment.
No comment. I'm going to try it. I'm going to just see how long that's going to last.
Okay. Did you like how I ended? It's like if you feel the need to make me a villain in all of this,
Oh my
well
God.
then be happy with about it. But consider yourself blocked and grow from love, ho.
So, I'm going to just move on to the next subject.
I will say though that I do not. So this is the last thing I will say about that. We're sort of making fun of it, But
I
I
know,
honestly do
yeah.
not enjoy that kind of interaction because I don't get into rah-rah back and forth with people. Most of the times I'm just like, we just going to agree to disagree or whatever. But at some point you got to stand your ground and remind people of who the fuck you are and who the fuck they are in relation to you.
Who you are.
Right. And I was just like, what? And so this the whole tone of what he had said before that was just like, we no. I'm sorry. Things didn't, turn out your way, but we ain't having none of this. So anyway, but yeah, I've been thinking about that for the past couple of days because I really am annoyed that I had to go there. Because normally I just don't. So listen, I grew up, I used to have the kind of temper where like, I would bump my head against the cabinet and put my fist through the cabinet. Like that's the kind of temper I had growing up. And so I have learned to just not engage for the most part so that I don't even get worked up like that. And once I do, then it takes me a long time to come down from that. And I just don't like that feeling because even though I feel like I had to do it, I still regret that I had to. Because at that point, I was like, bitch. And I didn't even get as vicious as I could have. I could have gotten like 1,000% more vicious than I did.
There were some moments where you just kind of like flipped the script and was like, well, absolutely fucking not. And then, fuck no. And well,
kiss my ass.
Like it was like that type of. I was like, oh my god.
Well, because I would start off on this like, I understand your feeling, but what you will not do.
That's exactly how it was. That's exactly how. And I was like, oh, bitch, I just got slapped. Wait a minute. Oh, and then he felt bad. Oh, I just got slapped on the other cheek. I'm like, bitch, wait a minute.
Because I was going through these emotions because I was still trying to be like understanding of his thing, but. And then I'm going to move 30 seconds and I'm going to say this. I feel like for so much of my life, and you probably have gone through this too, I have put the feelings of others before me when I feel like I was 100% justified in being like this in somebody's face, but I'm like, no, well, I'm the president or I'm the founder or I just want to be nice. And meanwhile, everybody is in my face like, but if I say something, then all of a sudden I'm the crazy bitch. And so that was what I was going through. Like, for 1 second I was like, I'm going to be the calm, collected. But then on the other hand, I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
It was the most bipolar letter it was like bipolar by paragraph. It was like one bipolar moment in each paragraph. That's all I'm going to say. But to be clear, and I'm echoing your sentiments, I am not making fun of this situation. I am looking at it from a very objective perspective, taking out the emotional and the hurt that's in it. But the situation was just, there's some funny things about this situation with taking out the emotional and the personal stuff.
Right.
So, but anyway.
All right. So we're going, we always spend more time on RuPaul. We'll come back to that. Game of Into the Badlands. I haven't watched that, so we'll start with. I've seen the first season. I know that what is this, the third season now?
So I have finished all that they're available for Into the Badlands.
Season 3 or 4?
It was 3 seasons. And it irritated the shit out of me because AMC decided to cancel the series. And so season 3 did not end; it just stopped. And when I say it stopped, like again, just like with Game of
plot
Thrones,
points that are unresolved.
Yeah, like there's a lot of unresolved. Like yes and no, but because it opened up another book of worms.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. So it's a whole other story arc that's getting ready to can of worms, I should say. I was gonna say book chapter of the story, but whatever. It opened up a whole other can of worms. But this, it annoyed me because they just got to the point where they are where they have made everything come to a head, and like I said, this open or start another story, and so that story is never going to start, nor are you going to find out how it ends, and that's where we are. And apparently, there are fans that are so much into, or that were so into the Badlands, so into the story of Into the Badlands, that they have got this petition and the people are listening to them. So there's a possibility that the fans may have some input into either a final season or some sort of wrap up in some way, shape, or form. I don't know.
Something similar happened to this show that was on the Sci-Fi Channel called The Expanse.
Yes.
It's this very long series of books. They turned into a really spectacular series on the Sci-Fi Channel, and they canceled it after, I guess, 3 seasons. But the fan backlash was so bad that they actually wrote directly to Jeff Bezos, the president and CEO of Amazon, and he was apparently a fan of the show, so he bought the rights to it, and now the next season is in production and is about to start on Amazon Prime.
Well, listen,
I got my Amazon Prime together,
so listen,
I'm ready to go.
I may have to catch up on that. But anyway, so again, everything about Into the Badlands, because I was such that Saturday afternoon kung fu theater movie kid, and you know, it was a lot of stuff that kind of, for me, segued into different things for myself. So like my stepping into the ballroom scene with voguing and Old Way and the precision, like that was just kind of amazing to me. So like I stepped into this and I was like, what? This is amazing. But what got me all the way together for all of these martial arts movies, and especially Into the Badlands, and the when they have a female character in a motherfucking pair of pumps and a ponytail, and this hoe is flipping and listen, I was the gayest kid in America, because I was like, oh my God, oh yeah, oh look at it, what are that? It was everything. Fabric was flying, people were flipping, toes was pointed, everything. I was into all of it. It made me happy. My inner gay child was just like, hey.
Right.
So it's everything. But anyway, so Into the Badlands, a quick synopsis. There is you are in this time after
post-apocalyptic
apocalyptic
wasteland.
That's where you are. And so there are these barons for each of these regions, and there's about 6 of them in total, and everyone basically is they're fighting for land and space and rights to own and operate certain things. Like one of them was oil, one of them was water, like all these different things that are crucial for life in this post-apocalyptic time period. Each of these barons have their clippers that are like assassins, and which is like part of their army, but then they also have these regents that are their second in command, and they have their family lives. And so they're talking about each of the family lives from all the different tribes, if you will, and how they interact. And so there's one particular tribe that I don't remember what the name of her tribe was. I can't think of it right now, but it was all women. She's the widow, who is one of my favorites. Again, 6-inch stiletto pumps, and the bitch is bad. So she gets down with the sword in her hands and her hair and everything else, and capes and everything else.
Right.
But anyway, so she's known for being treacherous, and she raises up her regent and all of her people that report to her. She calls them her daughters. And so there's a story on the opposite side about this particular baron who has this interaction with this clipper that is integral or
Wasn't his
key.
name Sonny or something like that?
Sonny, yes. Who is integral or key to the entire storyline. And so it's about Sonny and him having a relationship and then having a child with this woman while still being a part of this particular baron's tribe. But then there's the treachery of the widow who's trying to actually take over some things and monopolize all the different tribes, because like I said, there's 6 or 7 different ones. And again, it's this whole big power struggle. But again, there's also this spiritual mystical aspect that goes on, and there's some things that kind of relate to like the Bible and that Savior and this whole type of thing. And Sonny again is the key to some of this, and a lot of stories peeling along or being told as you go along.
Sure.
And so it was a great story, and I don't want to tell you too much about it, but I definitely will say if
you should check it out.
If anything, just for the martial arts alone, and it does not move slow.
Yeah.
It's so quick, and I watched the first season like in one day, and I got through all of it. So it's like it's really good. So anyway, when they ended it, they finally got to this point where they found out about these dark forces, and Sonny had a kid, and the kid was a part of this as well. And so it just kind of ended because they ended one story, but then they started another one, or it was going to be the opening of another story and introducing new characters, but then it just ended. So
Gotcha.
hopefully season 4 will come back, but I'm going to tell you, you need to get caught up on that. It is, or just
I think it's still in my queue, so I'll check
Just
it out.
jump on
Check
it.
out the
Jump in.
rest of the season that I haven't seen.
And then after that, was next up for me is to try to finish the Umbrella Academy because running a little slow for me.
Yeah.
So, but again, I recommend absolutely wholeheartedly Into the Badlands. And again, just for The Widow, go check her out.
So Game of Thrones had their penultimate episode on Sunday, and it was the Siege of Winterfell, and it was, the title of the episode was The Bells. So, all right, so now we are at the Winterfell, King's Landing. So they are at the gates of King's Landing. It's Daenerys and Jon's forces against Cersei's forces and the Golden Company. And, Jamie then left Brienne in the house coat, sitting there like, please don't go. Don't leave me. You just took my virginity. You can't leave me. So, well, he did. And so he's gone back to his, his queen cousin girlfriend. Not cousin, sister. Because they're twins. But they also, all of their children are also each of their niece and nephew. So, white people. But so all right. So the thing is that if they hear the bells, Dany is not supposed to. They're supposed to stop whatever they're doing. So Tyrion, the little person, I guess is is that the right term now? I think that is. I think other names like the D word is,
Well, I think he does have dwarfism. It's a form of dwarfism, but I don't actually know if that's what
But whatever. Yeah. So he's a Lannister, but he's also Daenerys' hand, and he was like, all right, if you hear the bells, stop killing people, whatever. So Daenerys, she fucks up all of the ships in the water. She fucks up all of the forces and everything. And then, so the land forces, confront some Lannister land forces. And the Lannister land forces was like, you know what? We don't even really like this bitch. And so they literally all threw down their swords. And the bells ring. And you can see Dany, she's sitting there like, and she burnt down the whole fucking city. And it's just like, her whole thing throughout this entire show for these past 10 years is that she is the breaker of chains. She's come to free people from oppression and tyranny and, saving the innocents or whatever. And it's one thing, to blow up all of the ships of the people that are opposing you. It's one thing to cut down and burn all of the soldiers, even like these hired swordsmen, soldiers or whatever. But now she's literally destroying the city and going after people. So she's just not like destroying the city and whatever happens, happens. You see her in the dragon, like people are running, and she's like, if the people are running like this, she's like right on their tail, like burning them alive. So her father was the Mad King, and she's now the Mad Queen. Meanwhile, we got the resolution of a couple of other stories. The funniest thing was when the Hound, who was the guy with the burnt half face, well, you might not even have counted yet.
I do.
He has this thing with his brother, who was the Mountain.
Right.
And so now they're going to fight. They're the Clegane brothers. And so we've been teasing this Clegane Bowl forever because they want to see them fight. So when they get ready to fight, Cersei is like, I'm not in this. I'm out. So she sort of dips out. And so now this Sunday is the very last episode of the series. And it feels rushed. It feels like there's so much that still has to happen. Because it's called Game of Thrones, but even up to this last episode, we have no clear idea of who is going to end up on the Game of Thrones.
So I wonder if this last episode is actually going to be an extended episode.
It is, but it can't be but so long. It looks like 90 minutes.
Well, or if it's one of those things, just like with chess, you can make that final move and wrap everything up in one move.
It's not the kind of show where everything is just going to be like, and they all lived happily ever after.
No, I don't.
I don't think anybody's going to be like, even like the person that wins the Game of Thrones and ends up on the Iron Throne is going to have to pay like a terrible price for it. Like, someone's going to win, but the whole rest of their family is dead, or they got their leg cut off, or whatever it is. Like, you was the most beautiful woman in the world, and now you're horribly disfigured,
scarred up,
or something. So it's not going to end well. And there's been lots of discussion online about it. And I just, like, as a writer and as someone who reads a lot, just think it's a lot of lazy writing, because this is one of the shows in the books. Everything that happens, you can see like a character's motivation or whatever. Mm-hmm. Here, they just assume so much, and they say something happens, and then when you watch, they have this sort of Untucked, but for Game of Thrones, where the producers are like, "Oh, well, this is what that meant," and I'm like, "Well, if you gotta have this show afterwards to explain what happened in the show, then the show wasn't well written, because you should be able to figure out most of those clues by the shit that happened in the show, not by me telling you, oh, that's what happened." But anyway, all right. So we got 15 minutes left. So, I mean, we would have had almost 20 minutes, but here we are.
And we're still going. So let me just say this. Say this as well. Before I go into anything else, Alabama, do you know that there was a law passed today?
Alabama knows. Yes. Everybody else needs to know.
Governor Kay in Alabama, Governor Kay Ivey just signed the state's controversial near total abortion ban. Mm-hmm. So that means that it is now illegal to have an abortion in the state of Alabama. That means that those people who are able to leave the city to take care of this issue, whatever that may be and whatever it may be from, or as the result of, you now have to leave Alabama to actually have this done. And that is going to disproportionately affect those people that cannot afford it, number one,
right,
nor afford the travel, and also it's going to more than likely affect disproportionately people of color in this.
Right. And so, Georgia has a similar law, so you can be like, "Oh, girl, we'll just go to Atlanta." Well, you can't go to Atlanta. I mean, and Alabama is, this is the deep South. So this isn't like New Jersey where, you can't, you could get lost in New Jersey, but, you drive 10 minutes and you're going to run into something. Yes, there's farmland in New Jersey, but my point is, it's not like Alabama. There are huge parts of the population that's born in this little county, grew up in this county, and they're going to die in this county. And they
know nothing else outside of that county.
Around them. And, so it's not the concept of going someplace else to get this abortion is just not feasible. Because you got to take a bus, or somebody got to drive you. And while most abortions are fairly routine and it's essentially an outpatient surgery, you still got to come up with the money for that. Yep. and all of this. And, Alabama is not a rich place as it is. So, what we're clearly setting up is a Supreme Court challenge.
Which is very interesting if it gets to that point.
What I imagine is I think the ACLU has already said that they're going to sue. So I would imagine that there will be an immediate moratorium on implementation of the law,
hopefully,
while the Supreme Court challenge works its way through. But I don't know how that's going to break.
Listen, the fact that we are even at this point is the part that really is annoying. And Alabama is not the only state that has that near total ban. Georgia is another one of them. I think was mentioned. And
right. In Georgia, it's the fetal heartbeat, which is
6 weeks.
6 weeks. And like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez was saying, 6 weeks. A lot of women, that's just when you're missing your period. Yeah. And so almost no one is like, oh, before 6 weeks, you aren't even aware that you've missed your period yet to be. I mean, maybe if you are actively trying, but if you're actively trying, the idea of an abortion is not even on your plate.
Right.
So anyone who would need an abortion wouldn't be checking. I mean, who checks themselves 2 weeks after they had sex? Oh, just in case I'm pregnant. No one. The first sign is that first missed period,
right,
which at a minimum is going to be about 6 weeks,
4 to 6 weeks afterwards,
after you've had that sexual encounter that caused you to get pregnant. And just the idea that these men are getting involved in a situation, and you know, dumb people are just like, oh, but it's a couple, it's their decision. I was like, well, the man. I mean, listen. So ideally, the two people should have this conversation, but the man needs to come to this conversation realizing that whatever you think is ultimately whatever the fuck she says, because she's the one that's got to carry it in her body. She's the one that is literally risking death by having this child. She's the one who will have permanent potential changes to her body beyond this. And so yeah. And I mean, I'm not even going to say what my personal opinion on, well, I mean, I guess I will. I mean, I would wish that we lived in a world where we didn't have to have abortions, but I mean, that's a ridiculous thing to wish for, because people have any number of reasons why they don't want to have children these days. People want to have careers, they just don't fit in. And also to say, well, you shouldn't have unprotected sex. That's ridiculous. That is a puritanical whole. Sex serves other functions besides mere procreation.
That is absolutely correct.
And you can't shame people for being like, oh, well, then you shouldn't have got pregnant.
Shut up, Desmond. I think they need to stuff her back in her mother's womb. Shut up, clown. Shut up.
So anyway, so we got what we got now. What time is it?
Okay, so we got enough time.
All right, so Drag Race.
Yes.
So can I just say that Lisa Left Eye Lopez did not burn down Andre Rison's house for Nina and Silky to disrespect No Scrubs the way they did.
It was just awful. It was absolutely
horrible.
Awful. Let's go back and do a quick replay on that.
Rewind.
The first thing was they had the fake slap mini challenge, which Brooklyn won, which I was like, but I will say this. Shout out to Evie with that curl backwards dip that she did, where she kind of fell back. She was like she rolled over like a like a wheel.
Like I thought she was right. I thought she was going to roll
over like a
yes.
wheel. Mm-hmm. Brooklyn's had, she was so shady. Oh my God, some of the stuff that's coming out of her mouth was just
the reads were way better than the reading challenge.
Yes, they were. Like I was amazed at that. What I'm talking about? Oh, she said that she had made comments about somebody looking like testicles. Somebody being a homeless person that she didn't want to slap. Like I think it was
Silky.
It was a lot of
like a homeless person or something like that. Yeah.
But anyway, so that was the mini challenge. The maxi challenge was that they had to make up
returning queens
mm-hmm. as a part of their family, and so I didn't think Brooklyn did a good. She didn't do a bad job of matching up the people.
I don't think it was particularly shady.
So it wasn't.
Silky
to me.
felt like she was being shaded because of Soju, but anybody who got Soju was going to be
actually no, they probably really wouldn't, because Soju she does that all white thing. So beat that face so it's all white and then paint on how you want her to look. That's it. Period.
True.
But
it had to be a drag family resemblance.
Absolutely.
So all right. So I have a few. Akira has been my favorite talking head. When Ariel was talking about the wig, she's like, oh, so now this is my new hashtag backpedaling and pussy popping. That's my new hashtag.
Let me back up. Backpedaling and pussy popping actually came up on Spill It Boy's website. Like, he actually has a whole series called Backpedaling and Pussy Popping. So that's his shit. I'm gonna give him credit for that.
All right.
Because that is absolutely, I can't take that away. Nobody should take that away.
Okay.
And when I heard it, I was like, come on, Spill It Boy.
Copyright, patent pending.
Listen, it was there. But yes, that Backpedaling and Pussy Popping.
That was hilarious to me.
Yes,
like, oh, so before you was all like these, wigs, and you was all yada, yada, yada until somebody was in your face, and now you backpedaling and pussy popping.
Absolutely. And then the funny thing for me was Scarlett. The shady part and the funny part was...
But she owned up to it, because
she did own up to it.
She was like, yeah, I said it.
She did own up to it. And I was like...
what she said wasn't that... I mean, here's my thing. hoes say what the fuck they want. But here's the thing: what you should have been like, well, but bitch, I'm still here. And
like that would have shut everything down. Like, okay, but bitch, I'm painting your face because you just came back for this challenge. So sit tight and let me paint your face up.
On top of this, regardless of what happened, it's still a chance, and I'm gonna be here. Nothing you can do
can bring you back.
So, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so I thought the pairing was good. I liked Vanjie and Ariel. But wait a minute, did you check out Vanjie's face when Rue announced the winner?
She was like, "Ooh, if I wasn't fucking this bitch, I would be so mad." If she wasn't fucking Brooklyn, she would have been pissed, more pissed than she was.
Brooklyn was like, "We're going on a trip." I was like, oh, "Okay, bitch, well, okay."
Because Brooklyn knew too. Everybody knew that she deserved to.
She deserved to win that pageant. I mean,
because after all of the shit that they've been giving her about, the looks, I feel like she was the one who most
brought it through. She brought it
and was listening to the critiques and everything.
So now, good old Nina and Sugar. I like their ideas. It was very costumey, but I was like, it was okay. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was horrible, but it was a little costumey. But I didn't think it was bad.
Costumey. It wasn't terrible. Now we're going to talk about the lip sync. Nina's lip sync was very boxy and stiff. And she clearly had no soul, but she at least knew all the fucking words.
Ding, 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 ding.
Whereas Silky was doing all of that backpedaling and pussy. Well, actually, no. He said, now you just are flopping off across these people's
Who said that, though?
Akaria.
Was it Akaria? I said, girl, no.
She's like, now she like just lying there like a whale. And then she in this wig, and now
wig reveal.
Now you just and then she's like, now you just are flopping across these people's stage.
This wig reveal, honey, listen.
It wasn't. And then did you see that clip?
Go back and check out my girl, Ms. Roxy Andrews. If you're gonna ever do a wig reveal,
right?
That's where you start at. You go better than that. Don't do this shit that you don't, because that was sloppy. That was messy.
But I saw another clip of Silky, like just in her regular drag life. Silky's not a good lip syncer. She talked all of that foolishness and all of that shit, and she was hyping herself up. Better be glad that she never did have to lip sync against Evie, because her ass would have been sent home a long time ago. I mean, we knew that already, even without having that, because we just know, like, Evie learns from whatever people say, and she like truly is a fighter. And listen, sometimes you fuck up in the challenge, but you keep whatever. Moving. But yeah, you would have got your ass sick. And this ending, that was some old bullshit. Because listen, they should have both been sent home.
That would have been better for me. Or Nina should have stayed.
Because there's no way that Silky did anything. She was terrible in the lip sync. Her look
was raggedy.
It was
raggedy.
So the worst that you could say about Nina's look is that they didn't match. If she was just doing like they said, like a gay pride and a trans pride thing together, it would have been a perfectly fine look. So it wasn't that the look itself was necessarily terrible. It just wasn't on theme. So
they gave me Sunny in hair, like I said. It wasn't Sunny in Cher, it was Sunny in hair.
Yeah, and somebody who I can't remember who it was said that showed you look like a Teletubby with lumps, and she did.
So would she be lumpy bumpy?
It was just terrible. And just,
anyway,
and so it's,
Bro, I'm questioning.
Not curious. Silky is it just confirms why. Silky is one of those people that talk shit, and sometimes people talk shit and they good.
Yeah.
But everything that Silky said she was good at, she wasn't good at. Because earlier in the season, she talked about, I'm a beauty queen. I beat faces. People come to me to have me beat their face. Well, you had the perfect opportunity to beat Soju's face. And listen, bitch, I have never put makeup on anybody, let alone myself. And I could have blended. She literally put like a big dark circle on the side of her face with this hard ass line. It wasn't blended or anything. Blending. It's all about the blending. I mean, it was terrible. So the beat was absolute. I feel like when I say I could have done a much better job, I feel like I could have done a much better job, because I'd have been like, this is at least blend.
And the bitch using Sharpies. Bitch, you could have drew that on. Just draw it on. Draw her face on.
The outfit was terrible. Although I
And
feel
when
like
she
that
almost-
was,
when she almost tripped. That was hilarious.
but Silky was the one that tripped,
That's
not
what I'm
Soju.
saying. No, Silky. That's what I'm saying. When she almost tripped, that was hilarious.
Soju, I feel like Soju made the best of the bullshit that she got.
Yeah, Soju was
If
like,
anybody-
"Fuck it, I'm on stage. I'm gonna do what the fuck I'm
Right,
gonna
it's
do."
like this is redemption for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Silky wasn't good at beating other people's faces. She wasn't good at dressing other people. She wasn't good at lip syncing. That was an old raggedy ass split where she didn't so much split as sort
She
of slowly
fell.
slid in, threw her leg out.
Like Miss Akira said, she flopped into that thing. Because listen,
Flopping across
big
the
girls can
people's
do
stage.
splits, and let's refer you to Latrice Royale because when Miss Latrice falls into a split,
Right.
shoo.
Even
That's all I'm
Eureka.
Yes, Eureka as well. Eureka and she was the one who
The one who broke her knee.
Yes. Yeah. So like, and then who was that? That was part of that said the big girl wins. That was Eureka, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
That was So yeah, listen, they were, but Silky no.
It was so shady to me that they didn't bring back Raja or
And Raja was the one that walked off with them Jardis wigs apparently.
I don't watch Untucked, so I didn't even know.
No,
But then
they
when they
said
started
that-
talking about the whole wig gate, I was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah,
Apparently all of that happened
They
on
said that
Untucked.
they were like, a couple people took, because Silky was like, well, I took this one, I took that one, and then they were like, well, where's the other one, the one that she really wanted? Ms. Raja had it. I said, okay.
Well, so here's my thing. I would never take anything out of that workroom unless someone like personally told me. I would have never made the assumption, and especially if I wasn't even friends with that
Yeah,
person, because you know how expensive those wigs are. So unless someone specific, first of all, I feel like this was all a setup, because as much money as she claimed and as many wigs as she had, how could you have not realized that you were left on there when you was packing? But all right, so even if you did, I personally, like if you were in the workroom and I were in the workroom and you got sent home first, because you would have.
This bitch just tried it.
And when you got sent home and left all those wigs, and so let's put it this way, even if I did use your wigs, I would never have taken them off of the show without having a conversation
Oh, absolutely.
with you first, because that's
And the other thing too is if that was your BFF, your good Judy, your sister, you would have taken her wigs and put them in your bag and given them to her when you saw her, because you were going to see her again.
Right.
So
you would have let everybody know,
yeah,
like, I'm
Plastic,
taking
you're
these
lying,
wigs.
but you're lying, Plastic, because you're talking about she left from Plastic. You're lying. All of you are lying. You all just want to take.
And
a wig,
Ariel's
that's what it
lying
is.
too, because she got. But I'm from. She pulled that Chicago.
New
shit.
Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm
I
from
want
New
the Jersey
Jersey.
come out
And
of me.
then when she was confronted about it, that's when they carried. It was like backpedaling and pussy.
Yeah, like
popping.
girl, where's that jersey at?
All right, we got 3 minutes. All right, so
girl.
the BGK8 show streams live on Wednesdays on www.voxwave.com from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern and 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern and 5 to 6. Not 8:05 to 9:05 and 5:05 to 6:05. Just so that we're clear. All right.
This is my unbothered look, people. I just want you all to get into it.
Episodes are available on YouTube every Friday. Just search Vox Power 373 and look for the BGK8 show of Dominion and Epic. You can also find us by looking for Vox Power 373 on Instagram, SoundCloud, and iTunes.
Take your time. We got an extra 4 minutes.
Actually, we don't, because see, that's the thing.
Oh,
there's a
because
hard
I was
stop.
like- oh, okay.
There's
all
a
right.
hard
Got you,
stop.
Got you. So are you done?
No.
Okay. So what's the next?
Currently, we have the ability to host a live audience, and the audience should be here by 8 p.m.
Actually, they should be here before then.
Well, so should the hosts.
They should be here before then. Yes. But I want to come in and greet you.
If you can't,
Dear darling.
if you can't be in our studio audience, you can call and chat with us at 240-719-2560. One more time for the people that didn't show up at 8 o'clock. 240-719-2560.
Y'all got
so,
that?
Epic, how can the people get in contact
You
with you?
can reach me on Facebook at 4minuteslate.com. No. You can find me on Facebook under Epic Onyx. You can reach me on Instagram at I am Epic Onyx. You can find me on Twitter at Epic Onyx 1. So, Dominion, where can they find you at? Always early.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at hashtag always on time.
Okay.
Hashtag always on my shit.com. No. At Dom Onyx on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/dominion.onyx, and my website, www.domonyx.com, where I will be writing a story about a certain silverhead friend of mine who is always late.
So listen, this is what the G stands for in the BGK show, the gays, how they get real nasty and vindictive. Y'all didn't hear that.
Thank y'all. Like that.
Thank y'all for coming. Good night.
Bye.